Once you watch this, you won't be able to unsee it. Today I want to talk about the Toyota Supra that came out in 2020. And before I start talking about the design of the Supra, I want to give you guys a background of how the Toyota Supra MK5 started. So first of all, in 2014, Toyota came up with the FT1 concept, which looked fantastic. Everybody was crazy about that car, and they were like, oh my God, this is like an exotic Toyota supercar. Of course, the car was 2 meters wide, it was super low, and the wheelbase was really long. The car was long. Basically it had a supercar proportion. But then the Supra came out in 2020 as a production, and it had the taste of it, but it didn't look exactly like the FT1 concept. And I want to explain to you what happened. Obviously, the concept cars designers are really free to sketch and make whatever they want because it's not a production car. It could be 2 meters wide, it could be 1 meter high, it could be as long as possible. The FT1 concept got so much traction, they decided let's make it into production. But unfortunately, Toyota made a collaboration with BMW to put the Supra into the Z4 package. And what happens? They wanted to keep the FT1 theme, but they had to stuff all that theme into a short, a little bit tall, and a little bit narrow Z4 platform. And this is their final production version. Personally, I think this car is a lot of love and hate. It has a lot of characteristics, but when I first saw this car, my reaction was like, oh, I think it could have been a little bit better. And let me break it down. Especially the front. I know it's very unique and it has a lot of character, but the first impression of this front is like this. It's the opposite of stance. And the reason why is because they have to stuff that FT1 concept into a production car. First of all, they got rid of the beautiful F1 inspired nose that was on the FT1 concept, and they had to make a small hole here because of the package restrictions of the Z4. It had a center radiator which had to be open to cool the engine. So that was the biggest difference between the FT1 concept and this one. And the second of all, what I personally didn't really like was that this intake is too far inboard. It almost looks like the person is doing this. Whether you need a strong jaw, you need this black to extend all the way out to give that stance of the car. And third of all, they try to retain that F1 concept kind of a center pillar, but because they had to put an intake, they put a hump in here. And this hump, it actually forces the front to look like this. It's not natural. All the lines are trying to go down, but there's this really tall hump in the front, which makes the car look taller rather than wider. So basically what that leads into is when you look from the front quarter, all of this is gone. So it kind of looks like the jaw is gone. And to me, that gave that a very uncomfortable feeling to this car. I thought a Supra would look way more aggressive, way more wider, instead of being so narrower and being so weak on the bottom. Compared to the stock Supra and the R bumper, what I tried to do was try to retain the feeling of the stock bumper as much as possible. First thing I did was I removed this hump. I actually connected the curvature from the hood to actually go way more lower than the stock bumper. Second thing that I did, I kept the theme that was from the Supra, but I made this intake way more wider. So the original is this wide, but I had to stretch it out, give it a wide impression. And not only that, combined with the center intakes, I actually pulled this part out as much as possible. So what you want to do is, what your eye reads is the white and black graphics. So you want to make the graphics as wide as possible so that car actually appears to be wider than what it is. And not only that, of course, we integrated a fin here to actually give some three-dimensionality into this intake, make it super wide. What I think is really important for a car is the eye. It takes about 50% of the whole impression of the car. For example, I'm not going to change much. I just did this. It changes a lot of my impression, or I just did this. Same eye, but it makes me more look angry. It makes me look more aggressive. What we did with this bumper was we actually try to give a little bit of an undercut to the lamp so that it doesn't finish very softly like a stock bumper, but it gives a little bit of that skull, which gives way more aggression to the lamp. So this bumper is actually not an FRP bumper that you see a lot in the aftermarket, but this, we actually spent time to engineer to the same grade as an OEM bumper. This is plastic mold injection bumper made out of steel mold, and all of this are meant to just fit like plug and play. So what you see here is a bumper that is fully made out of plastic. All the attachment points are to the OEM specs, so you don't have to cut a thing. Not only the outer bumper, if you look at the stock Supra, there's a radar here which is hidden behind the mesh. And I was like, oh man, this is an option. Some cars have it, some cars don't, but we decided to make it. So basically what you see here is a cover for the radar, which the actually OEM radar goes in here, and you can actually cover it up just like the OEM. Not only that, obviously we have all the support, we have the center intakes, all plastic mold injected. We have a tow hitch cover, and all the sensors, brackets are made just to fit like an OEM. And another thing that I really didn't like was the hump on the fender. Obviously, you know this is a clamshell hood, but this hump, because of pedestrian impact and also the suspension settings, it had to go so high. So this line doesn't know where to go, so they were forced to put this fake vent on the hood, which looks very unnatural to me, not just from the front, but from the side. It's like popping out of nowhere. Usually the rule of automotive design is to try to make everything long and wide as possible, where this line restricts it from the side view going this way and having a diagonal vent, which actually breaks the whole gesture of the car. So to compensate of the low, wide feeling of the Supra, we also came up with a hood, which actually compared to the stock hood, this went down at least 2 inches. So before it was very bulbous, but we pushed it down heavily to make it more sleek and wide. And by pushing this down, we were able to continue this line, which never existed, from the A-pillar all the way to the lamp. It actually contributes to the length of the car instead of this line going kind of weird to the side, which has nothing to do with any other elements. So it gives that car a long look. Also, not with just the hood, we also worked on the V2 side skirts, which actually tucks in to suck the air out of the rear of the tire, and then hiding that with the fin of the side skirt. So what I see about this hood is that the center is actually lower than the fender, and there's no line or edges, which makes it very egg-like or blobby-like hood. So what we did, we actually created this line that goes on the center all the way from the cowl point to the front to give it that 3-dimensional depth. So with this line, we were able to push the position of this hood and also give it a vented hood, actually to suck the air out of the hood. And as you know, a lot of people are kind of scared to have the water go in there. It's okay to have some water in there. The modern engines are very well covered to be waterproof. But with light rain, we created this little bit of a lip where the water can stay in here. It doesn't flow directly to the engine or the inner compartments. So that was a story about the stock Supra bumper and the ADRO bumper that was launched in 2024. And that was our take with the design that I didn't like, how to enhance it to make it low and wide, and also engineered for a better performance. And make sure you check out our previous YouTube regarding the designer's insight on the AMG GT4 and Ferrari Luce. And thank you. See you on the next episode.